wretched, scattered self. Time is all away, sleep and appetite all at sea. When you oppress me, you impress me with the need to feed this seed of rebellion. I nurture my resentment at your rules and regulations, and it grows. I am the IED. I improvise my attitude and moral stance in the absence of your care. I am primed to blow, who knows when, a leftover, forgotten ordnance no one ever accounted for. Explosives mined from the mountain of apathy and surplus of unused social conscience, mixed in an improbable cocktail and packed into the hollow shell of my soul with a fuse of simmering hate. There is no date set for my decommissioning. My very being, an unintended side effect of a different indoctrination. Talk about the concept of the person as the IED. The person in our society, the one who for this reason or that seems to have fallen between the cracks. There are 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds not in employment, education or training. NEETs, the government calls them. These are people who are at a critical stage in their lives. What they do now and how they are treated is important to us all. And the answer our government has come up to deal with this problem? Well, it's pretty neat if you are in government or you're a businessman. The Work and Pensions Secretary, Conservative MP Chris Grayling, has proposed that these vulnerable, impressionable people should work for their dole. That is, they will be forced to work under threat of the loss of meagre benefits for 3 to 4 months and shall receive no pay for that work. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Think about the way in which that might impact negatively on the self-esteem of the people subjected to this situation. Think about how that puts pressure on those who are already working. If suddenly there was someone next to me at work doing my job for nothing, that would worry me. It's not an idea that could be taken seriously with regards to solving a real problem. It just creates more problems. If you are part of the elite, it's a splendid idea. To business, great, free labour, yes please. And if you are government, it allows you to falsely manipulate unemployment figures, whilst the root causes, as usual, go unaddressed. Poor people used like slaves. This is about preserving a pool of cheap labour. As usual, the odds stacked in favour of the ruling elite. At the same time as this group, the NEETs, are under attack on the singular personal level, so they are too at the level of their community, as funding for youth centres and initiatives aimed at improving their lives is withdrawn. The popular media, which we have all seen to be an extension of the arm of the ruling elite, reports them when as a manifestation of these frustrations they riot as criminals and malcontents. Why don't they instead draw attention to the cronyism, bad policy, poor education, the greed of banks and corporations? The true causes of these misdirected displays of anger. These people are growing up and falling into the underclass of people that are disaffected, forgotten, made to feel useless. The underclass that is growing and filling up with people from all walks of life who are finding themselves unable to engage anymore in this failing system. So I see these people as IEDs. We're growing a time bomb, millions of IEDs. Is this progress? The gap widens. More statistics, more IEDs, more people swept under the carpet. In the year 2000, there were 20 million prescriptions issued for antidepressants. Last year that figure had risen to 39 million. That's a doubling of prescriptions in 10 years, a doubling that corresponds with the unsustainable borrowing and misguided aspiration for stuff, product. And as the truth of the situation dawns, as you find yourself under pressure, as you struggle with loans, mortgages and credit cards, or unrealistic living standards paid for by borrowing, so the toll to the spiritual and mental health becomes apparent. The cost of capitalist, consumerist living. 1 in 3 women in the UK have used antidepressants. The cycle perpetuates under the system we live under. Drug companies are bringing out new treatments for depression and psychosis all the time. They are marketed at our NHS. Doctors are encouraged to prescribe these drugs. It is quite simply business. The powers that be would rather drug you than look at what's making you ill and change it. 77 billion of taxpayers' money, your money, is spent in the UK annually on treating mental illness. To my mind, it seems that there is only an addressing of the symptoms, not the causes, i.e. this society and our consumerist, capitalist way of living. The cause is a societal, not personal in most cases. Or we wouldn't be seeing these figures rising at an alarming rate. In a study by the University of Essex, researchers compared the effects of a walk in the country or a walk in a shopping centre on the well-being of a group of people. It was found that 71% of subjects reported decreased levels of depression after the country walk, compared with 45% after the shopping centre walk. Subjects also felt much less tense and reported greatly increased self-esteem after a country walk. But after a walk in a shopping centre, 50% said feelings of tension increased and 44% said their self-esteem decreased. Why isn't this viewed by the medical profession and policymakers as a valid alternative to mass tranquilisation? It's clear that contact with other people and interaction with green spaces positively affects mental health. In 50 years, our communities have been shattered by this bad way of living. Joe lives in a block of flats with over 30 dwellings, yet knows none of his neighbours. You're scared to let your children out to play. Is this progress? This country has spent a total of 18 billion combined on wars with Iraq and Afghanistan in 10 years. 850 billion on bailing out the banks that have been massively contributing to this state of affairs. 77 billion a year on treating mental health. The money and the awareness and the knowledge to treat these ills is there. But the problems that I've briefly highlighted here go on getting worse. Is this progress? Progress. Is this progress? Trapped under a miasm, uncertain in origin. Take the pill. Now, what is altered? What was always sought? The fire gone, the fire quelled. It was not under control, raging here and there. Now we know it's fire though, and we use it to stay warm. What was sought was not what was given. This meat won't do for dinner now. Something else is needed. Always something else. Progress may be described as ongoing. Don't let them take me there in a wheelchair though. I can still walk. I'll go there on my own. What have they done to my rose? She is faded and moulders, ill-nourished. Her soil like those lumps of white dog shit on desolate corners of pavement you used to see when you were a kid. What have we done to our rose? cruel-natured, removed you, discarded your body in black bin bags with flies inside and out feeding on your rotten juice. What have they done to you? People still flock from afar. What do they hope to see? Ghouls we all watch and ignorantly continue to die. Why do they aspire to be like us? Haven't they noticed how things are? They don't want to be oppressed. Do they want to be like us? Stressed, like pears grown espalier, all the juicier, but we can't eat each other. Why do they aspire? whilst the root causes as